Hello everybody and welcome along to another edition of the Rebel White Ball. Must confess the voice isn't great for this particular edition, but we'll try our best. Anyway, after the amazing matches we had last weekend, and I suppose it was such a credit to everybody involved, particularly in the Sunday finals, that got through the whole thing. I mean, those conditions were absolutely worse than you could ever imagine, and I suppose there's only people that were there would fully appreciate it. Anyway, I'm not going to talk to you about driving through the floods on the way home and getting a puncture and all of that. So we're back in action again, and 3 county finals this weekend. There was only meant to be 2, but thankfully we're going to have the replay of the Premier Intermediate Hurling, which was an absolute thriller last week between Castlemartin and Muskerry, and I can't credit both teams enough to be able to put up the show that they did in those terrible conditions. And I know that there was times when there was rucks and mauls and all of that, but for savage commitment and keep us entertained right till the very end, it's 100%. And a draw, forget about anything else, was a fitting and an absolutely fair result. So they go back again, and sure, you've heard the old cliche that replays take on a life of their own, and they will, and so be it. But for the performances of lesson that will remain long in the memory of the supporters that were there. And for Castlemartin, they had these are a young team with 3 elder statesmen, if you like, in it, Barrow, Tooma and the Lawton brothers. But other than that, they're a team that have come up through the age with Kilteogue and have been winning championships. They've been on the go really since they won the West Cork East Cork in 2014, and with players like Darren Moore, who was outstanding in last week, Kieran Joyce, and the point that he got before half time, I think, was so important to them, and he nearly got the winning point at the end. I know he was full for that. And as I mentioned, Mike Kelly was their free taker, 35 points he scored from frees this year, and I know he was disappointed that one sailed wide, but you know what? When I look back at Muskerry, when Kieran Rice got that goal, I didn't know at the time that his father, George Wright, Lord of mercy on him, was one of the 2 Gardaí that were killed 21 years ago in an accident in the North Ring Road, the other being Seamus McIntyre and Kinmayer. Kieran was only 8 back then, and to think that he came on and scored a goal, so there could only be one result, either an Muskerry win or a draw match. So Mike Kelly, don't feel bad at all about his net free. Then you, Joe Stack, who came into the game, was superb. And as I said, Lawton brothers and cousins. In Muskerry, I think they took a lot of people by surprise. It's an unusual scenario for this particular club, because there's an all outside coaching ticket involved with them, and what a brilliant job under Paul McCarthy they have done. Fellas like Brian O'Mahony, Liam Ryan, the centre back, Josephine Wright and Andrew McCarthy at midfield, Colin Casey, who's been around quite a while, and he's some massive game, and I mentioned these because they're going to be there again, and the replays on Saturday at 4 o'clock. I hope I have that time right. Sean O'Donoghue and Fergus O'Leary, the other wing forward, and of course you would Owen McCarthy and the aforementioned Kieran Rice. So I'm really looking forward to it. Don't ask me who to predict who's going to win it. I think the last day Castlemartin were the favourites. Maybe the element of surprise a little bit might be gone. That can happen sometimes when an underdog puts on a great performance. But regardless, great match, and hopefully the replay will be, if just half as good, we'll enjoy it. Also then we move to Sunday, and we've got the Intermediate A football final between Ahabullock and Kilshannig. And this is obviously a huge game for both of these clubs, and Ahabullock, I think there's something about them this year. They're out of the hurling, they have good people in charge of them, probably always had good people, and it's interesting that the manager of the side is Robert O'Keefe, and he had 2 brothers. He will have 2 brothers playing for Muskerry. John O'Keefe, who is superb in goal, and the corner forward, David O'Keefe. So he's the manager. Kieran Cronin is a Kerry man who's in charge of the coaching there, and they've been going about their business in a work-like manner right throughout this year. I think they're a slight fancy for this one. Paul Ring, who's on the Cork Senior football panel, is a steady influence at centre back. Then you have Shane Tarrant, Ryan Dennehy, Matthew Dilworth and David Thompson, who has scored something like 6 goals and 20 points in this championship, and they have a penchant for scoring goals at Bullock, so that could be vital for them. On the other hand, Kilshannig, who won the county junior in 2019, and I believe for their semi-final match, that was the first time when they had a full team, because they've been fairly plagued by injuries. Again though, the fact that they have to play hurling, and they won the North Cork for the first time in their history last weekend, and that was a huge occasion obviously for the club, but it means that kind of a Bullock will have a clearer run at it, but maybe momentum then is the other thing. Gavin Creedon has been an outstanding goalkeeper for them. You've Brian Gearan, the O'Hanlon brothers. Now, did somebody mention that Killian O'Hanlon may be carrying some sort of, I don't know, a hamstring injury? Any may, like, if any of these teams are missing a major player, it can be a big turning point in it, particularly at this level. Kieran O'Sullivan, Darragh O'Sullivan, and Kieran Toomey. So again, it's going to be a seriously interesting match, and like you have Bullock who've been runners up in 2013 and 2018. They'll obviously be hoping to go on better. Again, like all these matches, sure, you couldn't ask for better entertainment, and I know now that weather conditions, the forecast isn't massive, but please God, it won't be as bad. Well, it can't be as bad as last weekend, because if it does, I think it's show over, we're out the gap. The big game then at 4 o'clock is the match between Kenturk and Bantry in the intermediate, the Premier, I got that wrong, the Premier Intermediate Football Final. And Bantry, what a story it has been so far for them this year. They were relegated 12 months ago when they were beaten by Bishton 116-19, and that was surely a dark day in their illustrious history. Now, for those who hold a little bit, I was going to say mature, but surely there's a complete lack of maturity if you listen to this. They won the County Senior Football Championship in 1995, 1998. That was a different era. This is a new team. Obviously, it's a new team, but I think to come back from relegation and to win all their group games against Castone, Bayern and Piershik, and then in the semi-final, the second half goals from Dara McCarthy and 2 from Arthur Coakley against the Ivrera. They're now in the final, and they have some serious players. You've Tim Cronin, Billy Foley, as I said, Dara McCarthy at midfield, and this could be a vital pairing here in that you've Sean O'Leary and Owen Minahan, and of course then you have Rory Dean, who is 30 years of age now. He puts huge effort into this team. If he plays well, Bantry plays well, and obviously I won't go through the collateral of that. The Coakley brothers and young Paddy Cronin, who is a Leaving Cert student and also an outstanding soccer player with Ringmahan Rangers under 19 team. What do we say about Kenturk? Like the amount of county, some of these will be playing their 9th county final between hurling and football. It's an amazing scenario, and they have lost a shot at them as well as winning them. But they have won football and hurling. They're backboned. Well, I don't know. You can talk about brothers. The McLaughlin brothers are vital to them. You've John O'Connor back, Loughlin, I think, sits centre forward. Then you have 2 Walsh brothers and 5 Walsh brothers. You've Tommy and Aidan Walsh. Tommy usually plays kind of wing centre back. Aidan can be, midfielder, full forward, and then Paul, Ryan, Alan, and Colin. So the fact that does it make a difference that you lose 2 county finals and not expect to win the 3rd? I honestly don't think it does. And it would appear that for Sunday that Kenturk will be hoping that they'll produce a different performance, because they were disappointing. There's no doubt in saying otherwise in their 2 defeats against Knocknagree 2 years ago and against Newmarket. Thought of losing county finals, the thought of losing them to your neighbours. But anyway, I find it hard to call this one, but I'd probably go for Kenturk. It's a big weekend for the Camogie as well, and the SE systems, the 2 finals they have done for decision, the intermediate final on Saturday at 2:30 between Bullock, who are appearing in their 3rd final as far as I know, and they play Blackrock. That game goes on at 2:30 at Castle Road, and then the following day, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Bullock, and Blackrock have been so impressive in the campaign so far, and Bullock have outstanding players. Miriam Cotter, Mavering, Cleena Healy, who's been on the Cork panel, Ciara McCarthy and Emma Flanagan. For Blackrock, Hayley Ryan is one of their leading players. Caitlin Hickey, no Roisin Defeata. Sure, there's Kerry blood, and this lady was injured the last day, whether she's going to make it or not. Michelle Murphy and Caitlin again. And I fancy I have Bullock in this, but for Blackrock, those players, quite a number of them will be lining out the following day with Shandoon at the same time, 2:30 on Sunday against SARS, and that's going to be another, like the Camogie Championship, I think, has been top class this year, by and large. Now, the only, I won't say criticism, one way to criticise, but I think they should have a little bit of relegation built into it, but that's for another day. The SARS team, Lucy Allen, players like Ora Mullins, Molly Lynch, who is the champion as far as I know, Cleena Lynch and Caitlin Sheehan, they have been the leading players so far. And for Blackrock, for Shandoon, obviously the Blackrock players that I mentioned earlier on, Susan Kate Brosnan is the team captain, Lauren Homan, Amy Lee, Amy O'Connor. Everything is about this lady and the number of goals that she'll end up scoring. Now, they will, Shandoon, as well as having Blackrock players, I know that they have some players playing with Bishopstown the week before, the day before. I'll come back to that. Ladies football, and what a clean out for Cork teams a couple of weeks ago, when there were 3 Cork teams beat in the Munster Championship, only one left, and that's never won. And they play Cumra Rangers next Sunday at 1 o'clock, and that game goes on in the Cumra Rangers ground. Now they've won, like they've beating O'Donoghue and Rossa, beating Moycarthy Boris. By the way, Cumra Rangers are a Waterford team, beating Moycarthy Boris, and they'll be depending, I suppose, to a greater or a lesser degree on the McDonough sisters, Amy and Lydia, and then you have Gráinne Ní Luasa and Mundineen. So, and I think we said that time that the days of Cork clubs dominating these championships is for the moment well and truly over, and but hopefully the neighbour one will continue on and win that championship. The divisionals nearly getting there. We're down to 2 Junior A hurling finals, and both on Sunday. The first one is on at 3:30 in Rossmore, and I suppose an unlikely pairing away, Ballinascarthy, and if they win this, they will never forget last weekend's. Imagine having an extra time, a penalty shootout, and then with a sudden death against Dornies before they got over the line. Is their name in the cup? Well, we'll wait and see, but they're playing Newcestown's second team. And last weekend, whoever's in charge of the Newcestown Twitter, and there are some entertaining guys in that club and ladies, when he put up the Daniel Toomey had to go off early because of his child's christening, their child's christening. No, maybe he wasn't playing that well. I don't know, but look, he should be okay for the next day. What were they cribby about last week? That the match was on, that it shouldn't have been on at that time. But anyway, in a year that has been very good for Newcestown in terms of their top teams, it's amazing. Here they are again in a West Cork Junior Hurling final. And the other one is the Muskerry Junior Decider, which is on at 6 o'clock on Sunday evening. And it's good. I think that it's 2 first teams, Gwinnett, who just 12 months ago were relegated from it was then called the lower intermediate grade. They were beaten well by Courcey Rovers, but they're back in the final against Ballinascarthy and probably should, get over that one. But I think it's good when they're 2 first teams. Now listen, second teams deserve to be in there as well, and the same effort goes into them. Now, I mentioned about the Camogie earlier on. There was a couple of junior games that weren't played last weekend because of weather conditions, obviously, and Friday night one of those games is down for decision. That's Tracton versus Ballinascarthy and Clodove at 7:30. I expect Tracton to win that, and I'm sure Ballinascarthy are in the final. The junior finals A and B will be played the October bank holiday weekend, the Jazz weekend, and the other one is the junior B semi-final between Bishopstown and Youghal, and that's on Saturday morning in Ballinacurra at 11:30. And obviously the early start there will facilitate the Bishopstown players if they're needed to play for Shandoon the following day. Moving to rugby, and it's another round of the URC, and this time it's the Viva on Saturday evening at 6:15, where Munster take on Leinster now. Seemingly in the last 11 times or 9 times, they have met 11 times in the last 4 years, and Munster have only won 2. But despite the poor start to the season, there's a new coaching system in there which we're told is working, but it'll take time, and maybe there was green shoots of that in their win last weekend, bonus point win against the Bulls from South Africa. And the fact that Leinster are going to be missing 3 or 4 internationals, I think the Munster have a really good chance here. No, they may not have to win it, but putting up a good performance and playing the style of rugby that they have been over the last while. And with Gavin Combs again getting 2 tries last week, and seemingly the link-up play between him and Craig Casey, and hopefully Jack Crowley will get in there. I noticed that when should he been on the Irish squad? Like, I think if this fella got a chance. But anyway, look, I suppose we're a bit biased about all of that. Before I forget it, because I have a tendency to do that, we've asked to mention an online auction. I think it's live now, and it's organised by the Beara board, and so you go to the Beara website. And this is, you're aware of the fundraising there down there for the future educational needs of James and Molly Crowley, the young children of Paudie and Jim Crowley. Well, these are for you golfing enthusiasts out there, and the first prize in this auction is the donated by Padraig Harrington, of course, who was a huge connection with the Beara Peninsula. His father, Paddy, played for Cork and set up Stackstone Golf Club in Dublin. He was a member of An Garda Síochána. But they have a signed pin flag from Padraig from the 2008 Open at Birkendale, I should say. And then they have the second one is a signed polo shirt, and they have a number of 4 balls from golf clubs like Castletroy, Connemara, Bantry, Blarney and Courcey. Now, this auction, oh, don't worry, these Beara crowd know how to make money, but it's not going to be for the JPs can't get in here and buy this. Seemingly what will happen, you go on, I think it's a €5 or a tenner to log on, and you make a bid, and it's the lowest unique bid will get the first call, and you can pick something from the list I have mentioned there. So you might say, well, look, if we all bid €1 or a cent, see, it mightn't work that way, because it maybe 33 cents could be the lowest unique bid. Unique means that no one else would have that bid. So they'll probably make as much money. I think it's a great cause, and fair play to Padraig Harrington and fair play to the organisers. You can only wish them the very best of luck with that particular fundraising event. Anyway, on to soccer, and of course Friday night, tomorrow night, is going to be a big night at Turner's Cross, because the trophy, the Division 1 trophy before Cork City play a break, will be presented to the skipper, and I would imagine there'll be a huge following there, and well, they should be, to support a team that, you know, have been the outstanding team in Division 1, and we go up into the Premier Division, and how they get on there, well, that's for another day. In the Premier League, there's 2 games tonight. We have Fulham taking on Aston Villa, and after Aston Villa's 2-0 defeat last week, talk turned to your good friend Stephen Gerrard. Some would argue that it's between himself and Liz Truss as who will get the bullet first, but I'm afraid Liz is a bit ahead now. She's doing well. I just can't believe it, how that country across the pond is making such a mess of parliamentary affairs. But anyway, that's from their story. Leicester City take on Leeds that game tonight, and there's another boy out there that could be looking for the gate, and that's Brendan Rodgers, the manager of Leicester City. Anyway, Saturday, Nottingham Forest, well, did they get a bit of a reprieve when they defeated, when they drew with Brighton, maybe, but it's a big game for them, and Liverpool after their big win over Manchester City. And Jurgen Klopp, talk about respecting referees, I think he got in a bit of trouble about that one. Man City, after Liverpool lost these games on Saturday, will take on Brighton. Chelsea, after, as I said, that 2-0 win over Aston Villa, take on Man United. And Man United, right, okay, we won't get excited about these guys. They drew with Newcastle, but a big win last night against Spurs, which was Spurs' first defeat, I think, in 5 matches. And Sunday, Leeds take on Fulham. Southampton take on Arsenal, and Arsenal's game with Man City, was it Man City? But anyway, that didn't go on, and they're playing Europa League game tonight, and the other game, Spurs now have a chance to get back in action when they play Newcastle. If I could for a second, what's the word you abuse privilege, and head over the county bounds, because it's a big weekend for our former neighbours in Templenoe, when they play the biggest game of their lives in the Kerry Club Championship final. Last weekend when Dingle were beaten, my God, when they're so unlucky, by his Kerry, that late Paul Murphy winner. That means that, you know, the divisional, the Kerry Senior Football final is just that now. With Kerry playing Field Rangers in a week and a half time. This is the big club final to decide the best club team in Kerry. And Templenoe in it. It's absolutely incredible that this small place, half, third, fifth of a parish, are going to be playing Courcey Rovers. I'm a little concerned though. It's on in Killarney, Fitzgerald Stadium, 3 o'clock on Sunday. Courcey Rovers are after bringing back a couple of boys from Abu Dhabi or wherever they are, Dubai, Jack Savage and Cormac Coffey. Hopefully Gavin Crowley will be okay for Templenoe. No, I've got to be so careful about this. The game beforehand, would you believe, is the Senior Football relegation final. I think the system in Kerry is absolutely a bit crazy. I think there's more teams. They should have at least 12 club teams in Senior Football in Kerry. But anyway, it's Kinmare versus Austin Stacks. Now I just want you to close your eyes for a while and imagine Templenoe and Kinmare are the one parish. Divided geographically, not half and half, or maybe population wise, no. So there's one crowd playing the biggest game of their lives for the biggest prize, and the other crowd are playing to avoid relegation. So you just hope for that piece of time. I think they're on a Corbus one. The peace will be in order and all of that. If you travel to Templenoe on Sunday night, the tavern is the only pub they have there. When they go to Kinmare, I believe O'Connor's is their joint. And up the street further, the Kinmare boys hang out. It's going to be so interesting day. Finally, before I leave, I've been contacted by our good folk in Courcey Rovers, seemingly that they're celebrating the 75th anniversary of the formation of their GA club. Hope that's right now. And the 40th anniversary of their Camogie club. And to mark the occasion of one of the events to mark it, they're having parish leagues in Camogie and hurling. This weekend, the finals I think will be played the following weekend. Now they've something like 80 children involved in this from under 10s, 11s and 12s, and there'll be 28 games played, as I said, this weekend and next weekend. And the lovely thing here is that some of the Camogie players and the hurlers will be involved in managing the teams. Ciara Hayes, Jacinta Crowley, Anna Hannon and Andy Helbro will be involved with the Camogie team, and then hurlers like Sean Toomey, Ronan Nine, Fergus Lorden, Tygo Sullivan, Stephen Nine and Jerry O'Neill, and all of these were involved in Courcey Rovers a couple of weeks ago when they were defeated in county final. Getting there was a massive achievement, but it just shows they're now coming back and doing work with the underage, and so we wish them the best of luck in that. The only No, sorry, I've no concern. Vincey Hurley, who's a kind of a legend in that area, is now a Garda base somewhere in West Cork, I should know, shouldn't I? But anyway, he's one of the referees, and I thought that Catherine Morgan, who was referred to as Lady Catherine, is an... See, I happen to know her, right? And the person that sent me the note to say that, you know, and I totally agree with the description of Catherine being a lady. So the best of luck to Courcey Rovers, the best of luck to every team playing at the weekend, and you know, forgive our diversion down over the county bounds, but my God, the very best of luck to Templenoe in that huge match. So until we cross swords again, you mind yourself, take care, and God bless.